Every wing. Good morning and welcome to Vero, Yahad, local home service featuring multitudes of angels, trails of glory, and the smoke of a fire that never stops. You have your book, turn to number 1 in Elohim's. We'll get right started. While you're doing that, Father, we lift you up and your mighty host today on this Shabbat. We ask for a Shabbat shaboom. We ask that your spirit might fall upon all that are involved with this ministry and with us this morning, and that it would turn our hearts and intentions away from everything else and toward you. And we will thank you and praise you for that. Amen. It's working. Number 1. You set my boundary lines in pleasant places. You guard my property just like a warrior. Keep me safe from losing reputation. Yahweh, you have been the perfect lawyer. Good inheritance is mine. A good inheritance is mine. So glad, my heart is very glad. A good inheritance is mine. All mine, all mine, all mine. You point out pleasant pathways and glory. To walk with you, O God, is satisfaction. Your guiding hand is ever just before me. Father, I shall never know corruption. A good inheritance is mine. A good inheritance is mine. So glad, my heart is very glad. A good inheritance is mine. All mine, all mine, all mine. You filled my cup and all filled my portion. Your name has been the ground of my endeavors. Your goodness and compassion is my fortune. Your right hand has overflowed with pleasure. Almost done. A good inheritance is mine. A good inheritance is mine. So glad, my heart is very glad. A good inheritance is mine. All mine, all mine, all mine. A good inheritance is mine. All mine. number 2. That was pretty good. Oh, this is the one with the lion in it. Number 2. A good inheritance is mine. That's a fact. Did you ever think when you were younger where you'd be at this time of life?
6 feet under.
6 feet under, did you think? So did I.
Well, you, I can believe it.
Yeah, right. Thank you. The lion in his lair, the lion lies in wait. The lion lies in wait to snatch the poor man. The lion sets his net, the lion makes his plan. The lion lies in secret for the poor man. His heart spoke to him, see, hell has forgotten me. Hell can't see into me. Hell won't deny me. The arrogant and the greedy and the cursed, the prideful boast, there is no Elohim in man. His mouth is full of lies, his tongue is troubled fire. He hides in secret darkness for his prey man. His heart spoke to him, saying, hell has forgotten me. Hell can't see into me. Hell won't deny me. Love is the morning of the children. Arise, O El, arise, O Yahad, arise, arise, lift up your head, O El, for you want all the dear ones, all the needy, they need you now. Arise, arise, O Yahad, arise, O El, arise, arise, strike out your fist, O Yahad, in compassion. Thank the orphan, help the widow, surely you'll arise. Witness the sorrow so distressing, and now the dilemma you're addressing. The evil are trapped in their devices to face the mighty one when he arises. Arise, O Yahad, arise, O El, arise, arise, lift up your head, O El, all the dear ones, all the dear ones, all the needy, they need you now. Arise, arise, O Yahad, arise, O El, arise, arise, strike out your fist, O Yahad, in the passion. Save the orphan, help the widow, surely you'll arise. Father Yahweh, oh, surely you'll arise. Arise, arise. Me, you're singing so well.
Oh, gee. I sound like I'm singing in a well.
Number 3. I am glad no one is king. So good it is to inheritance. Stand out before you. As you lead me to right, you will take me from every evil. I am glad you caught my foot that day I slipped. Yeah. You caught me up and set me back on so it gives me purpose. No, my mind runs that my soul delights in calm as my feet step forward. Our Father, you'll never leave us. You will not forsake us. Inheritance. Once there, stand up before me. As you lead me tonight, you protect me from every evil. This part's not important. I am glad to be the one discipline. I am glad to be the one chastised. As you lead me right, you protect me from every evil. I am glad to be the one. I am glad to be the one. Oh, let's sing number 5, The Way of the Righteous, and we'll do one more. Could somebody get me some water, please? I'm just dry. I'm dry, I am. That's a good church hymn.
Is there a number on there?
That's
448.
I'm trying to think of the name of. That song came from the bar rooms, and she was used by the Wesleys in church. Yeah, I remember it now. Oh, happy day, when Jesus washed my sins away. He taught me how to fast and pray.
Washed all my sins away. Borrow the frozen chosen. Borrow the frozen chosen here.
Who?
The frozen chosen.
Is that us?
It's still cold in Florida, no matter where people live.
It's pretty cold.
Yeah, but it's all relative.
It is. I like the weather. Knows the way of the righteous. dawn comes to dawn. We stand like cedar trees that grow upon the flowing shore. That in due season bear good fruit, our leaf will fade no more. Yes, we shall ever prosper well. We even are not so. Those wicked folks like cast off chaff, the wind drives to and fro. For Yahweh knows the way of the righteous and the way of the wrong comes to naught, comes to naught, comes to naught. On Judgment Day, such folks will stand unrighteous as they are. For in assemblies of the just, the wicked men appear. The way of righteous folks is clear. The Father seen and known. Just as the waves of wicked men will soon be overthrown. For Yahweh knows the way of the righteous and the way of the wrong. Comes to naught, comes to naught. Let's finish up song, Yah, Yah, Yah. See which one that is. Yeah. I like the way I like to hear you sing that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Isn't this a Beatles song?
He loves you, Yah,
Yeah,
Yah,
yeah,
Yah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's number 87.
Oh.
By the way, I have all these songs recorded, 100 of them. They're online. You can download them with orchestrated accompaniment. You can learn to sing them. The accompaniment by itself is up there too, that you can download and practice with. Of course, who'd want to do that?
It's better to just wing it, huh? Make all the mistakes.
I don't remember how it goes. Here we go. Elohim arise, and let his enemies be scattered. Let them get like the smoke dissipates away. Yah, 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 rides the stars in the chariot of gold. Yah, 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 protecting the orphans and the widows 6 days ago. Like the silent king of wrath, let them rejoice before Elohim. Let them be merry, let them be joyful, let them sing high praises to his name. Yah, 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 rides through the skies in the chariot of gold. Yah, 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 protecting the orphans and the widows 6 days ago. Sing praises to his name. He soars the skies on the Merkaba. So we're ascending, we're so excited. What makes us rise is that sacred name. Yah, 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 rise in the skies on the chariot of gold. Yah, 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 protecting the orphans and the widows. 6 days. One more time. Yah, Yah, Yah. Rise to the sky in the chariot of gold. Yah, Yah, Yah. And take the orphans and the widows. 6 days ago. Nice going. Nice going. You have your Essene, Service 8, Allison Gary. We'll do a little bit of that this morning. This is responsive all the way through. And let's do the first 2 pages to the blessing of Messiah, all right? All together now. Blessed are you, Yahweh our Elohim, sovereign of the universe. Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu melech haolam, who sanctifies us by your mitzvot and calls us to hear the kol shofar. Asher kitsyanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu leshmoah kol shofar. I think there's one laying right here. It was on that table right there.
Right here.
This was easier for me.
Okay. Avenue, Yahweh Elohim, King of the universe. Let our praise, blessings, and prayers rise up to the Shamayim and be joined and magnified through all the ascending levels of the heavens by all who serve you therein, culminating in united, joyful, resounding music and a sweet savor to your very throne and your presence. And let us reply, blessed be your name. May you hear us on this set-apart day. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh is our Elohim. Yahweh is one. Shema Israel, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. Blessed is the name of his esteemed realm forever. Baruch Shem Kavod Malkuto Leolam Va'ed. Barku et Yahweh Hamavorach. Baruch Yahweh Hamavorach Leolam Va'ed. Bless Yahweh, the Blessed One. Blessed is Yahweh, the Blessed One, for all eternity. Remember the Shabbat day to keep it set apart. 6 days will you labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is a Shabbat of Yahweh, your Elohim. In it you will not do any work. For in 6 days Yahweh made the heaven and the earth, the sea, and all that's in them, and rested on the 7th day. That's why Yahweh blessed the 7th day and set it apart. Speak also unto the children of Israel, saying, above all, my Shabbatot you will keep, for this is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, so that you may know that I am Yahweh who sanctifies you. The Israelites are to observe Shabbat, celebrating it for the generations to come as an enduring covenant. It will be a sign between me and the Israelites forever, for in 6 days Yahweh made the heavens and the earth, and on the 7th day he abstained from work and rested. And it will come to pass that from one new month to another, and from one Shabbat to another, all flesh will come to worship before me, says Yahweh. Who is like you, O Elyon of Israel, in heaven and on earth, that he can perform in accordance with your great works and your great strength? Who is like your people Israel, whom you have chosen for yourself from all the peoples of the lands, the people of the covenants, learned in the statutes, enlightened in understanding? O King, Helper, Savior, Shield, Blessed are you, Yahweh, shield of Abraham. Baruch atah Yahweh Magen Abraham. Blessed are you, O Yahweh Elohim, King of the universe. Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu melech haolam, who has given us the Torah of truth, Asher Natan Lanu Torah Emet, and has planted everlasting life in our midst. B'keya Alam Nata B'tochenu. Blessed are you, Yahweh our Elohim, sovereign of the universe, who's given us the way of salvation in Messiah Yeshua. Amen. Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu et derech ha-Yeshua b'Mashiach Yeshua. So with joy we draw living water from the springs of deliverance. Ushav tam chaim mahim besason mimain ha-Yeshua. Amen. And now it's my pleasure to introduce to you once again the eminent pastor and preacher, Lee Hayhurst. He's going to give us some new insights into the Essene way, and he's excited this morning. So here it comes. You want to do it right out front here, or you want to?
No, I'll jump back there.
Okay.
As you know, we've been scanning books, and this is one of the books that that I had scanned the last couple of days. And if those of you are wondering about copyright laws, we are within compliance, put it that way. All right, let's pray. Father Yahweh, I ask that you would anoint my clumsy technique, my words that I speak, that perhaps just a little spark would ignite within the hearers of my voice, and that either it would spark a small comforting fire to comfort those in need, or it would become a blaze that would burn away the dross and the sin in our life. Father, this time I would ask you to anoint the hearer as they listen to these words written by someone long ago. And as we meet here in compliance and we do Shabbat to you, Yeshua's name, amen. Amen.
Nice and slow.
Okay. All right, this book is called the Essene Book of Everyday Virtue. It's by Kenneth Hansen. Now, I've been told that we have met him here in Vero. I don't remember, but some people do. There are 10 areas, 10 titles that it goes on. Now, we Greeks, that means non-Hebrew culture people, we like to put things in compartmentalization. Okay. We pigeonhole things in our lives. And this covers 10 of these areas in his book. And the people back then, the Essenes back then, they just called it the way. Real simple. It encompassed everything. So, in a sense, we are like one aspect of the Essenes of old. They rewrote manuscripts for posterity to change the form, perhaps from they didn't do the book form yet, the codexes. They were still on the manuscripts with the scrolls and everything. That's what we have today, scrolled away in the caves. We have been putting it into a new form, electronically. So we're copying these books so the Yahad at large can get through them and glean wisdom from them. And so this is one of them, to, in a sense, what your appetites. I was scanning this, and as I can quickly see certain topics on there, I glean from it myself, so it kind of teaser to go further. This is what I did with this one. It's all on simplicity. I've talked about simplicity before. The simplicity of things, minimalism. I'm still working that out myself. But the Essenes had it as a way of life. And this is one, they have a lot of quotes there, so I'm going to be quoting and then commenting on them. I'm sure we have a text. I think I used a text last time. I don't remember it this time. But This was from a Roman philosopher and an emperor. Marcus Aurelius, was that one of the emperors?
Yes.
Okay, he done a Meditations, book 4, 24. He says, occupy thyself with few things, says the philosopher. If thou wouldest be tranquil, for the greatest part of what we say and do being unnecessary. If a man takes this way, he will have more leisure and less uneasiness. Accordingly, on every occasion, a man should ask himself, is this one of those unnecessary things? Now, a man should take away not only unnecessary acts, but also unnecessary thoughts, for thus superfluous acts will not follow after. So if we have thinking and having a mindset of simplicity and do away with some of the more, agitating things of everyday life, the acts that we do will be diminished because our mind will be clear and uncluttered. Another one is in 7. There it is. Okay. Embrace the wilderness. I got to find it in here since this thing's not. Embrace the wilderness. It talks about, a lot of it talks about the Qumran experience. When the Essenes left, some of them left Jerusalem and went out to the desert. Embrace the wilderness. Hold to your bosom the desert experiences of your life. Keep them close to you. Learn from them. It is a deep and recondite irony. What would that mean? Anybody would recondite? What would that mean? I've never heard that word before.
Well, why don't you spell that?
Recondite. A recondite irony. Maybe it's within context.
How about Allison Harrison knows what that means?
For only in the experience of lack do we learn the secret of abundance. Now, this is talking about the Essenes from a philosopher. So going into this walk, if we have the right mental aspect and mental attitude, we can glean more from it in those times when we do are in the desert. When we go on retreats, when we go to Goshen, we went to Tennessee, we're going to Coffee County. We're in a sense going to an ocean, a desert. We're getting away from the clutter of the cities. And our spirit is replenished during those times of refreshment. If we have all the time hustle and bustle, how to make a buck, and making a buck is necessary, we got to pay the bills. But when we get away, we are able to replenish those deep wells of, I'll say, entrepreneurial thought, that we can unclutter our mind and really think what could be possible. Not in a conniving and let's do this and everything, but just to undo everything in our mind and just be. Just think of ourselves there. 10. Where is it now? Like I said, we got to jump around here a little bit. You have come to a Jerusalem of sorts, not the physical city of Jerusalem, a city you have abandoned, but a spiritual community, the desert of Jerusalem. You haven't really left civilization for the desert. You have merely exchanged one desert for another. You have traded a desert of clutter and stress and oppressive tensions, the desert of the peoples, for a desert of purity and hope. And he's a prayer. I thank you, O Eternal, O Yahweh, because you have planted my feet beside a fountain of streams. You have placed me in a parched land beside a spring of water in the wilderness. So it's time of those pure refreshing from a fresh well of possibilities in the kingdom that we can glean from when we do get away from the tensions of everyday life. It is the principle of simplicity that draws us to the wilderness. In your mind, you are one more inductee into the sect called the Sons of Light, also known as Essenes. You are a breed apart. You are on a path different from that of the rest of humanity, even the rest of your nation, Israel. You want life, and you want it more abundantly. A lot of times we are drawn to the wilderness. We're drawn to back to earth. We talked here about earthing, about draining our bodies of the excess tensions of electricity with a pad or electricity. It's been online a little bit, and we connect a pad under our bare feet, and we're able to get that electricity flowing through us. Walking on the beach is a great way to do it. Barefoot, of course. In our time here, we're so insulated from the atmosphere, from the land that we're on. We don't go barefoot anymore. Our soles are made of rubber and every insulating properties. We come into a house that's artificially conditioned, air conditioned, or heated. So we're so disconnected from that. But getting back to the desert, we can reunite with those elements that are from the Creator. Let's see, 13. So this is just one chapter in this book. The next one, I can't wait to see what it brings in. It's going into community, which would be quite interesting. 13. Sorry about this, because like I said, I don't have this all in one place. Among the problems city dwellers are afflicted with is the difficulty in seeing the things around them in different light, from a higher perspective. At some point, the wonder of living disappears with it, the childlike joy of discovering new insights everywhere. In an abundance of small things, opulence breeds complacency. Opulence breeds complacency. Does that make sense?
Opulence?
Opulence, yeah. OP?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The more things that we have all around us, the less individual meaning any of them has. But when we withdraw to the desert, we may learn to glimpse the essential oneness in all of nature and marvel once more at the elemental powers that energize the whole of creation. We no longer take for granted the dynamic forces that seem to course through nature, and we listen carefully to the tongue with which it speaks. In the desert, we become attentive even to the winds, for they have become angels of holiness. They whisper the mind of the eternal. Now we can't, all of these things being different and everything, we can't neglect Thoreau, who said, being a different drummer, if a man does not keep pace with his companions, perhaps it is because he hears a different drummer. Let him step to the music which he hears, however measured or far off. But basically saying, well, you listen to the words and you just formulate it in your own mind. We can get away and we can hear that different voice within us calling us this way. When the crowd runs this way, we're going this way. You know, and all of us within the Yahad, I believe, have come to a point like that where we're not looked at as, I won't say the word normal, but going along with the flow. There are larger organizations that we can belong to, but they don't quite go along to our beat. We're a little bit different music that we dance to. So we're on this walk, and sometimes it feels like we're in a desert. But it's those times in the desert when the nuggets come, when the true voice from Yahweh comes. Okay, in closing, I want to ask us to put away the clutter of your mind, calm your spirit, set conflict on the shelf, if only in your mind. Allow your spirit to be flooded with shalom, peace that flows up from eternal. This is the Essene way. These books are quite deep, and I want to bring this out because if we don't have the right mindset with getting into the Essene way, to really studying and looking into here, we'll miss it. We'll miss what it can do to our spirit and the new areas that will lead us into. This is not the norm. like I said before, it's not the typical beat of the drummer that is so loud in our ears, in our surroundings, in our environment all the way. In our environment, we hear screams on TV of political redoing, and that's fine. Yahweh has his plan there. But we're a different breed. We're looking for the spiritual cleansing of the temple, in a sense. So let us get our whips out, not in a slashing and beating point of view when we talk to people, but one that just draws them in. Have you considered this? Have you considered that? So I want to leave with you with that. Try to get away this time, even though it's cold, and even in the cold stillness. It's what's great about these cold nights. They're very quiet. They're very quiet. I saw online there, someone mentioned that it's easier to get up in the morning when it's still dark because morning happens later. And they can get up with the sunrise. They can get up with the rising of the sun that brings new strength to the land. Even though it's cold, even though it might be overcast with snow from the night before, but it's so quiet. We go outside and we look at the moon. It's just so much stillness. Excuse me. If we were to go to the beach here, even during those times, the only thing you can hear is the waves crashing. It's so peaceful. So as we're so cluttered in our minds of anticipation of things coming, I ask that you can get away and just unclutter your mind and go for the simple things. Go for the simple bird tweeting in the woods, in the trees. If you can still your heart, if you can still your mind long enough to hear it. There's many things out there to speak.
That's a question I had. How do you make the transition? I mean, from chaos and from distraction and transist into the world of peace, joy, and love like that.
From what I got out of the book, sometimes...
How do you do it?
How do I do it? Well, I live alone, so that I don't have a in-house companion type thing. So in that sense, I'm always in that time. Although I do get on the computer, watch YouTube, so my mind is cluttered with the many different things. Sometimes I get in the car and I don't turn on the radio, which a lot of times is playing all the time anyway. Music or chatter or, some talk show host is screaming in my ear about, whatever. But you just get away and you can listen to the stillness. That's how I do it. I just love to get away. Here, you can go to the beach. You can't hear, nobody goes around you. Nobody's screaming around you. Kids aren't running around. And you can make that transition that way. I think with doing more with less is an answer. Start uncluttering your mind. The thing about, do I really need this thing? Do I really need this thing in my life? Can I do without it? That's a beginning step. Becoming uncluttered in your stuff. I'll go back to the stuff thing. I'm not going to bring my dirty laundry this time. But it's uncluttering our life. And then as our life becomes uncluttered, our mind has a way of clearing out also. We don't have to worry about our stuff all the time. And so that's it. Getting less stuff. Do we really need this? Do we really need to go on this website? Do we really need to keep up with so many things? When things are less deadlined, I know, Jackson, you have deadlines every single day that you have to put up online. Find another way to do it. Redo old stuff. Just take time and move away for a day or even. I know when we don't do anything, sometimes Shabbat is very difficult for people, and that's it. We need to have our life cluttered. There was one, I'll call him church father, but I remember years ago, he had every 15-minute segments of his life had to be planned out because there was not much time in this world. Every 15 minutes, he had to put in a journal on what he accomplished for the kingdom of, at that time, kingdom of God. The kingdom of Elohim. What am I doing within this 15 minutes? And his life must have been very cluttered to think of something to do for the whole day long. And that's not the way of the Essenes. The Essenes love to get up well before dawn, go see the sunrise, and just get centered for the day, and then go to do their work. And they accomplish much. They accomplish much. So I would say that would be it. That's what I would suggest. Get uncluttered in your mind, on your physical, and then your mind follows. So there's many more books to follow. This one is going to be on the membership website, membership deal. So it'll be quite interesting. So one last prayer. Father, thank you for this. Thank you for the Shabbat. The concept of Shabbat is to take a rest, is to pause from your life, to not speak about things that are happening in the world that we can do nothing about, just to meditate upon you, to take one day out of 7 to think on you. That we don't talk about sports, we don't talk about economy or conspiracies, but we can just get alone and really concentrate on you. Not in a hurried way, but to meet with you and be silent. Father, I pray that we will find this way, that the journey of becoming a version of the Essenes as your people were back then, that they found a solace and a solitude in you that we can just strive for in this hurried pace. Thank you, Father, that you have commanded us to observe the Shabbat and all that entails, a time of pausing. You have commanded us to do that. Thank you for that. Sometimes we have trouble doing it. Our lives, some things just need to be done. Not everything needs to be done right today. But thank you, Father, for this principle that you've given us and the allowance to take a break. And as the day goes on today, we still have the rest of the day to celebrate your Shabbat, to back up and to see our life with you. So may we truly be in Shabbat today and taking a break from those things that trouble us. In Yeshua's name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
The service is finito. That was a quick one.
Yes, it
But
was.
very pithy. Very good. You had some real good comments on here today. Norma says, I tried telling Jackson he needs an assistant. Yes, well, I have one now, Norman, thanks to you. But I'm kind of digging out. I'm digging out and getting closer and closer to having a leisure. Question is, what do you do with it now? Well, we got some wonderful weather coming up to enjoy. And that sounds like a good idea to go down to the beach, wouldn't you say?
The thing of it is, you don't have to do anything with it. That's the thing. You don't have to do something with everything 24 and every waking moment. You can just be. It may sound like laziness to some, but it's
Well,
it's refreshing.
my mother said that her biggest job raising me was finding things for me to do, because I feel it's incumbent on me to be doing something all the time. I get bored just sitting around. And
You get bored inside your own head.
yeah. Yes, but now Allison Harrison, Ellie says, wonderful meeting. Thank you. Lots of goods and hallelujahs.
Will it ignite a nice little warm fire, or will it ignite a blaze in someone's spirit to burn off the dross?
Well, here's something very, very unusual from Anne singly. There's a tendency to make loving Yahweh a lot of work.
Yes. We have to prove our worth to him. And we don't.
Mhm.
We don't.
How silly.
We can just love him, and he can just love us.
Well, thank you so much, folk online there. And I thank you for your comments. We should probably do this again. So next time,
Yeah, this will be a great discussion.
let's be more interactive. Yeah, we'll continue on the same subject because this is going to be helpful to a lot of people.
And it would help if, some of the response and everything, you would read some of the response of people saying so that we can address it right here.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that's been lacking because they're as much a part of the congregation as everyone that comes here physically.
Yeah.
And a lot of words of wisdom and things that we can discuss are right there on the chat.
Something that keeps coming to me is when you're really, really busy, and I used to be really, really busy because I worked a lot. And I learned that I had to be willing. That was the first thing. I had to be willing to allow myself to become calm and just listen.
Yeah.
I didn't have to say anything. I just needed to be willing to be still and allow him to minister to me. And then I ministered to him. But I had the first step was to be willing to calm down, forget the work, and take that time and give it to him.
You hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. You got to be willing.
And in 1978, I had just had my fourth child, and he moved us to the country. And I went into a literal panic. And I was screaming out, "What are you doing to me? Why are you doing this to me?" It was so unfamiliar, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And I said, "I feel like I'm in the wilderness." And he spoke to me so clearly, and he said, "Where did my son go? Away from the crowd to be with me." And I was okay, because I realized that Yeshua had escaped the crowd and went to the wilderness to be alone with Father.
Are you willing to put yourself out there? Are you willing to be vulnerable? Are you willing to show your face on camera? See, I didn't pick my nose once. I didn't embarrass myself once. So if you didn't either, you were fine. You were talking there. You're talking to us.
Yeah, but I wasn't on camera.
Exactly. So what's the difference? You didn't.
Because I don't like my face. I don't like my
Oh, no,
Well,
that's something you need to get over.
Exactly.
I understand I need to get
So,
over it. So I need to
Learn Kepha. Well, the reason why I'm up here, I read Kepha. I read the Nazarene Acts. Now, you've heard this before out there if you've spent any time here. When I heard the Kepha saying, learn the arts of preaching. Learn the art of preaching, he said. Now, I've ministered to people. I've been door to door. I've been doing different things in that direction, talking to people, witnessing to them, praying with them. But preaching was another aspect I had never gotten into. And that's why, because I'm sure Yeshua wants me to have a witness in and out of season. But it was the first time that I had read from somebody like that, learn. Preach. You have to learn. And I'm still learning, obviously. He tells me all the time, I'm still learning. And I'm not perfect. But I'm trying to step out there. And I would encourage you to do it too.
That's right. All right. Thank you again.
And y'all out there, learn the art of preaching. I look forward to Allison's on there? Allison's on there today?
8 people on here at least.
Allison was on the roster, so I look forward to hearing her bring the word.
Oh, yeah.
Amen.
This will be up on YouTube if you would like anybody to watch it within the hour.